Welcome back to CEO Money. I'm Michael Yorba, your host, with Mervyn Price.
Hello there.
All right, we're talking with Jackie Coffey, CEO, Intri, intraenergy.com. And now we're going to just take this conversation and twist a little bit to the future and talk about the business side of this business. But before we do get into that, Merv's got some questions about your technology and the future potential of the technology. Right, Merv?
Yeah, very much so. Traditionally, solar cells, as you know, Jackie, have been very inefficient because they've been monosilicon devices where you basically slap two blocks of silicon together and hope they make a circuit and have a photovoltaic effect. And then now we're into polysilicon and thin film. Is your technology capable of going into, say, sufficient thin film that you can coat a car with it or something like that?
Yes, it will be eventually. We're not there today. We'll be launching the solar cell that fits in the industry and goes. But in fact, our Dr. Gaspari, who is the inventor of the technology, has done significant work on thin film and can move in that direction. In fact, is part of his technology roadmap to move forward. So there are options for that, certainly going ahead. The thing about using the silicon and the carbon together is that we can actually, like I mentioned previously, this 25% efficiency barrier that's in the industry right now, but with the silicon and carbon, we actually can go beyond 40% over the coming years.
Okay.
That's an amazing thing to do.
Game changer.
It is a game. We call it setting the new standard. I think it really will be a game changer for the industry.
That's an increase in efficiency at 25% at the low end and 50% at the large end for the same price. That's what I call value for money on conversion of sunlight.
Well, the other the thing I'd like to add to it too is that we are working with other materials. I think in the industry they've talked about materials such as perovskite and other materials that they're having some stability with issues with right now, but there's a lot of potential. And we'll actually be able to incorporate those. So the price, as our efficiencies go up, we actually expect our prices to be going down.
Do you have multiple sources of the silicon wafer? Because I take it you're a fabless technology. You don't have your own silicon fabrication.
Right. Yeah, that's through our joint venture partnerships and licensing. And we're actually in discussions with some people at the early stages now on that, because silicon is abundant material. It's a proven material. Carbon is abundant material and a proven material. So we won't have any issues in terms of attaining and procuring the materials that we need, because the infrastructure is already in place to do that.
What's your timing and approach to market entry? How close are you?
Well, we need, right now we're seeking investors to complete the demonstration of the technology. And that will take about 9 months. And what that will do is allow us to be able to go to institutes such as Fraunhofer Institute and NREL to demonstrate the technology, because they are the ones that validate all the technologies worldwide. So we'll be able to take that to them for the validation of the efficiency. Once we complete that, we will be working on optimizing for mass production. And we're going to be building our demonstrations on commercial equipment. So it's not like we're building it in a lab and then we have to then see if it will translate. We're building it right on the commercial equipment to start, so that we can move to the optimization stage and commercial production within 24 months.
Good heavens. How robust is each panel? I mean, does it use glass or does it use a polycarbonate product?
We can use glass or the polycarbonate at this point in time.
Okay, so you got a choice, because the reason I asked that question is I don't know whether you've ever been in Texas in May, but we get golf ball size hailstones.
Oh yeah. Well, I know you have to be prepared for that weather, that's for sure. But yeah, we have the flexibility in that area as well. It's the actual cell that we're going to be working on, and we'll be working with fabricators to optimize how we put that into a module, so it's out in the field.
Are there any, regarding investment, are there any tax advantages for people investing in renewable energy technology?
Well, at this point in time, I think there are the flow-throughs and tax credits that people can take advantage of still in the United States. Our company is based out of Denver, Colorado, and there are still tax credits that people can qualify, and the capital investments that the company will also be taking advantage of too, from a tax credit standpoint.
That's amazing. That's great. How do investors find out about you?
Well, they can go to. I'll just tell you a little bit more from the projection side. We do know that of those 90 megawatts that are going into production, about 10% of the fabricators globally are looking for cells. They purchase them now on the open market, and they're looking for a competitive advantage. That's something that we can provide them. They're buying cells from a company that is keeping their grade A and putting their grade Bs on the market, and so the efficiencies aren't there to make them competitive for the price, and we'll be able to offer it to them. Our projections indicate that we only need to capture about less than 1% of the entire market to achieve revenues of almost $1 billion over 5 years. So, besides providing the value within the solar value chain. So if people are interested in finding out more about Intri and our technology, they can go to our website. I will warn you, however, that it's under construction right now. We have purposely kept this under the radar until we had our official patent number issued, which, as many people know, can be a long process. The USPTO has issued our official number in the last couple of months, so our program developers are working on putting the website together. But right now you can go and it says to contact us, and if people are interested, they can just put their information in there and we'll get back to them.
Well, that's very smart. You have to protect the intellectual property. I
Yeah.
realized that was the case, which of course
Yeah.
is why you're here with us today. Michael,
Yeah.
have you got any questions?
Yes, you'd mentioned the prices are going to come down as you start going through your manufacturing process. How much do you see the gap widening between the current cost to the purchaser or the licensing of your product versus what's out there now as you move forward?
Well, as we move forward, I think the price now, they measure the cost of electricity as they call it the localized cost of energy. So how much does a nuclear plant produce energy for? And it's about 5 cents a kilowatt hour. And solar is very close to that now, and we expect that that's going to go down to 2 or 3 or 1 cent a kilowatt hour as we progress with our efficiency improvements. And the energy of the sun is free, so we just have to figure out efficient ways to convert it from the sun into our generation. And if we can come up with these solutions, we should be able to provide energy for the whole world at next to nothing. And I think it's particularly useful in third world countries where they don't have the infrastructure. They have no poles, wires, and generation. And so for those countries to be able to have solar solutions in there will make a significant difference in their whole lifestyle and world.
And of course, with no moving parts, there's nothing to break.
That's right. That's right.
This translates into massive multiples for your company.
Yes.
These are off the chart numbers, because what you mentioned, 1% turns into $1 billion over 5 years. That's not even the tip of the iceberg for what's happening with this.
Well, when you think $132 billion was invested last year, and the market's continuing to grow, and that's going to double in the next 10 years, for our company to come out with this unique, novel, proprietary technology can make it is a significant opportunity for our company and its investors.
Okay. Do you plan to license this to any other manufacturers? The reason I ask that, the demand is so vast that you could end up with, not been able to make enough.
And we have less than a minute to answer that before we close.
Well, yeah, okay, that won't take long. We could go to any of the big solar companies right now if they want to license the technology and utilize it. That's the point, is we would utilize all of the existing infrastructure. So we could have a license agreement or a joint venture partnership with any solar manufacturer, solar cell and module fabricators.
Market domination.
It is. Jackie, thanks so much for coming on the show. We really appreciate that.
Thank you so much for having me.
Our pleasure. Jackie Coffey, CEO, IntriEnergy.com. You heard it here. We got the scoop on everybody. We got the scoop on the world, Merv.
Yeah, the biggest scoop of all is you introduced the wrong guest for the second half.
Okay.
But you got it right. You got it right, Michael. Thank you.
All right. You've been listening to CEO Money with Michael Yorba, Mervyn Price. We'll be back with more great contact. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to CEO Money. If you would like to be a guest on our show or know someone who should be on our show, please contact us at info@wfn1.com or our website, wfn1.com. If you would like to reach any of our guests, please visit us at wfn1.com. Join us on Twitter at WFN Live or our Facebook page at WFN Live. We will be back tomorrow with more great interviews and ahead-of-the-curve information you just can't get anywhere else.
CEO Money is sponsored by WF News 1 Incorporated. Views and opinions heard on CEO Money are not necessarily the opinion of this station or its management. Material on this program is intended for general information only and should not be taken as specific investment, tax, or legal advice.